Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News, the show where I try to explain world events using the same brainpower I once used to cook ramen on the hood of a Ford Ranger. Folks, America is living in a blender right now. Not even a fancy blender. One of them gas station blenders where you buy a smoothie that tastes like regret. So buckle up, grab your emotional support raccoon, and let's dive in before something else explodes on my news feed. Segment 1. Operation Absolute Resolve and America's New Side Hustle. Now look here. Apparently America woke up last week and decided to cosplay the world's angriest landlord. We kicked down Venezuela's door, scooped up Maduro and his wife like we were repossessing a mobile home, and called it a law enforcement action. Which is real cute, considering we sent 15,000 troops and half the Coast Guard. If that's law enforcement, then my cousin Earl's 4th of July fireworks show is the Macy's parade. Then President Trump got on TV and basically said, "Don't worry, America is gonna run Venezuela now." Sir, we can barely run the DMV. Half this country can't even run their own group chats. And instead of supporting democracy, we picked Delcy Rodriguez to run the place. Someone so tied to the old regime she might as well come with a complimentary Hugo Chavez bobblehead. But Trump says she'll stay in power only if she does what we want. Buddy, that's not democracy. That's how my grandma handled babysitters. And the cherry on top? Venezuela's coughing up 30 to 50 million barrels of oil like they're paying back rent. Trump said the proceeds will be controlled by me. Brother, when someone says I'll hold the money, that's how you lose your fishing boat, your yard goat, and your deposit. Segment 2. NATO crisis and the Great Greenland Yard Sale. In the Arctic, America decided that the best way to kick off 2026 was to threaten a NATO ally. Yes, Denmark. The people who gave us Legos and pastries so good, they should be illegal. The White House says Greenland is now a national security priority, which is politicians speak for, "We want that rock real bad." Then they refuse to rule out military force, which, how do I say this gently, makes Europe extremely unchill. Every major European leader got together like the Avengers of Disappointment and told us, Greenland belongs to its people. Denmark even warned that if the US attacks, everything stops, including NATO. And when Denmark starts threatening, you know things are messed up. Denmark is usually the emotional support country of Europe. And bless his heart, Representative Don Bacon called the plan dumb and embarrassing. Anytime a man named Bacon says you are embarrassing, you should sit quietly and rethink your life. Segment 3. The National Nutrition Reset, brought to you by Kale. Back in the homeland, we got a new set of federal dietary guidelines, and apparently the government is now doing CrossFit. HHS Secretary RFK Jr. and USDA boss Brooke Rollins announced a real food reset. Ultra-processed stuff is out, vegetables and protein are in, and apparently obesity is now a national security threat. Which is wild, because I thought our greatest threat was people who deep-fry Oreos and call that culture. They said 70% of Americans are overweight. Folks, if you're shocked by that number, I invite you to visit any Walmart between the hours of 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. It looks like a zombie movie directed by Paula Deen. But RFK Jr. is serious. Real food, no junk, fewer carbs, more protein, and the whole thing is patriotic now. My redneck buddies are already bragging that they're eating ribeye for America. If these nutrition rules stick, we might all be healthier. Or we'll just invent new ways to fry chicken and pretend it's a vegetable. Segment 4. Supreme Court Showdown, Gender, Sports, and Citizenship. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is hosting its own version of WrestleMania, taking on transgender athletes and birthright citizenship. Idaho and West Virginia want bans on trans girls in women's sports, and the DOJ, instead of opposing the bans like last administration, is now telling the court these policies are eminently reasonable. That's a fancy way of saying, we ain't touching that mess, y'all deal with it. But the real monster is the birthright citizenship case. The administration says the 14th Amendment doesn't apply to kids born here if their parents aren't citizens. Which, buddy, that is not a policy. That is a constitutional grenade. If they change this, America's going to need more paperwork than the DMV, IRS, TSA, and your Aunt Carol's HOA combined. My redneck cousin Earl said if they change the citizenship rules, he's going to have to dig up his birth certificate, and he ain't looked for that since it blew away in a hurricane in 2007. Segment 5. The JOLTS report and the economy holding on like a rusty tractor. The labor market? Oh, it's colder than leftover Waffle House hash browns. Job openings fell to 7.1 million, the lowest since 2021, and for the first time in forever, there are more people looking for work than jobs available. That's what economists call hiring's down, quitting's down, and businesses are holding on to workers like they're collectible Pokemon cards. Hospitality lost 148,000 openings, but somehow construction added 90,000. That's because AI companies are building data centers everywhere. We don't have enough workers to cook hamburgers anymore, but we're building robot factories so fast, we might as well rename this country Robotopia. On Wall Street, oil prices dropped thanks to our Venezuelan oil heist. Bitcoin's shooting past $92,000 because chaos is bullish now, and the Dow is wobbling like a tractor with 3 wheels. Segment 6. Physical AI. Robots are coming and they want your job. Now let's talk CES. The tech world has fully entered its "what if everything was alive" stage. NVIDIA and Siemens unveiled their industrial AI operating system, which basically builds digital twins of entire factories so robots can practice before they mess up in real life. That's right. Robots get training wheels while humans get layoffs. Then Mobileye bought Menti Robotics to create humanoid robot workers. That's right, humanoids. By 2028, you might walk into Home Depot and see a robot in an orange apron telling you where the hammers are. They say robots are for boring, repetitive jobs. Buddy, that's 80% of the economy. And at this point, robots can simulate an entire warehouse in a computer before setting foot inside. If Earl could practice his life choices in a simulator first, he wouldn't have married his third cousin. Intel even showed off its new 18A chips, Lego-made smart bricks, and the UK warned Elon Musk that his AI is making deep fakes again. Folks, humanity is one software update away from being optional. Segment 7. Weather alerts, celebrity drama, and America being America. To wrap things up, a big storm is creeping across the South, bringing rain, hail, maybe tornadoes, and definitely people on TikTok filming themselves yelling, "Do it again," while ignoring evacuation orders. California held a remembrance for the LA fires, while Minneapolis is dealing with an ICE-related shooting that's going to ignite another national argument on policing. But don't worry, we still have celebrities. Foo Fighters postponed their tour because Pat Smear injured himself gardening. Gardening. That's how you know you're aging. And Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's future wedding is already being called America's Royal Wedding. My cousins are already planning watch parties like it's the Super Bowl mixed with the moon landing. Hollywood's throwing hands again, too. Warner Brothers Discovery rejected a takeover bid because they'd rather be bought by Netflix. That's right. We're watching the entertainment industry fight over who gets to lose money slower. In conclusion, America is juggling wars, allies, oil, robots, weather, culture wars, celebrity weddings, and nutrition guidelines that basically just say, please stop eating plastic. The world is on fire, the economy is confused, AI is learning to walk upright, and the Foo Fighters are escaping killer tomatoes in a garden. So until tomorrow, stay poorly educated, stay confused, and stay entertained, because this roller coaster ain't slowing down.